I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now starting.
Erotic therapy.
Welcome to the Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
I'm so hyped to be here.
I am so hyped that you're here. Where do you live here?
I'm from Northern California, went to school at USC.
Yeah.
So then stayed in LA.
Okay.
But just moved to the Santa Monica pocket with my husband, Max. So we're so excited to be there because we were in kind of like an awkward Mar Vista.
Yeah.
Not really Venice, not really Culver, not really, so we're in the throes of Santa Monica living.
Oh, that's so fun. Do you love it?
I do. I love it. We really moved there to be like, we can walk to dinner, we can walk to the grocery store, we can run into friends.
Yeah.
I shit you not, our first weekend there, walked to dinner, ran into friends. I was like, it's
You're
happening.
like, oh, my dream is coming true. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I lived in this house outside of Nashville. Yeah, it was a good chunk of time away from like the main part where all my friends were in Nashville. And I swear my whole life changed just moving into a new house that I'm like 5 minutes from my friends now. Because I'm like, well, I never saw you guys.
Yeah.
Like my level of happiness has gone up. My mental health is better because I'm just around people I want to be around.
That was the big reason.
Yeah.
I feel like this is common for women, especially in your 20s. If you're not living in the city of your high school best friends or your work, I work alone pretty much with a small team. So like, I just needed to be in more of a social environment.
Yeah.
I was getting too sad.
I hear it. God, I know all about that. 2020, that was the last time I think we talked.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I was wondering if you would even remember. That was...
Well, of course I remember.
It was Zoom, like in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, I guess I do 2 podcasts a week and it does get a lot, but I do remember that. I just didn't, when I looked up, I was like, oh, 2020. I'm like, that's so crazy that that's 4 years ago now.
I know.
Catch me up to speed. What has your life been like since that moment on my podcast?
So many things. Well, that was really special. I was coming on to promote Kobe Bryant's book, Geese Are Never Swans, because he had supported my nonprofit, The Hidden Opponent, which was so special and so grateful to say The Hidden Opponent is still flourishing and we have an amazing team there. And I'm just... It's one of the few things I'm like proud of. You know, you can't say like I'm proud of my Instagram. Like that's weird. So, but that it's special to me because I feel like I have really kind of evolved from the college volleyball player, YouTuber. You know, the way I got into this industry was talking about my mental health struggles as an athlete.
Yes.
And of course, I still struggle with my mental health, but in different ways.
Yeah. And
I feel like now I am in like such a different place with everything and my content in my life. But if me in 2020 saw like one of my new like outfit videos, she'd be like, what the hell is going on? Why, who cares about your outfit? And then I'm like, I do.
Yeah, and people do.
I know, right?
I get excited. I got excited to see what you're wearing, Taylor Swift. I got excited when you went to. Did you go to Coachella or what was the music one that you went to? Where you had all the cute outfits.
What was all the cute outfits?
You did. I think it was.
Oh,
Coachella.
it was a live, and you were on the live, and we were chatting. I remember that.
Yes,
I think that was Coachella.
Yeah, you had so many cute outfits.
Oh, thanks, babe.
I say the same thing. I always think about where I'm at in life, and if I told myself that was going to happen, and that's actually been helping my mental health because I tend to think about like where life is going and like a lot of people say, you know, like be present or don't think about the past or future, but I actually want to think about the past because I'm like, look how much I've grown.
Yeah.
Look at where I am now compared to even just 5 years ago. Like, look how much I've learned over these years. And I want to think about the past and have like, instead of having resentment, which I tend to do around certain people or bad things that have happened, I'm trying to really look at my past as like, holy shit, you worked so hard. You had to move mountains to get to where you didn't notice it at the time, but you worked really hard. And I'm trying to give myself so much grace for how far I've come.
Totally. And like you're unreal, your whole career. And this is
Thank you.
something I want.
Nice.
I know you're gonna come on Real Pod. I want to dive into that too. But like you built like an insane, brand I almost think doesn't even do justice. Like you have your wine and you have your podcast and there are lots of people who go on reality TV shows and they don't do that. They don't build that out. Like you have worked really hard and been super intentional. And I hope you sit back and think about what you've built. I'm trying to really get more present and be more present.
Yeah.
But
How do you do that with a social media career?
So I read this amazing book. It's called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Okay.
For anyone who wants to get really existential and like contemplate like what it even is to have a thought, this is the book for you. But it's life-changing.
Okay.
And he did a whole thing with Oprah. So if it's the book super hard to digest, you can listen to that podcast.
Ooh.
And I also, if you're not into the Oprah one, my best friend and I did a spin-off podcast.
Oh, great.
So much to say about it. But basically he talks about our egoic mind and then our awareness.
Yeah.
And so your ego is the voice that's like, I'm inferior or superior. I'm better than these people. I'm worse. I need to do better. Like, but you, the essence of you is what's here right now without the thoughts. So he would say, is the situation actually making you unhappy?
Yeah.
Or is it the way you're perceiving it that's making you unhappy? I should have gotten this. I did such a bad job. I've been waiting too long in this line. These people should have done this for me. It's all the things the voice in your head is spinning that's making you build this negative emotion. When if you literally stop thinking, you're just here in the now, and none of that even exists in this moment.
Yeah. Are you high?
It's a lot. No,
I'm just kidding.
I'm not. But like,
no, I love hearing this because I am fully in.
Me, what's in your wine? I've had 2 sips. No.
I drugged you. No, that's actually such a good thought because I am so hard on myself. But when I actually like take a step back and realize what I'm doing to myself, I'm like, why would I torture myself like that?
Yeah, completely.
So, okay, so he's just saying if you remove those thoughts, your own perception, you're just a being in the now.
Identifying your ego voice.
Yeah.
And people hear ego when they think, oh, a cocky dude. That is ego. But ego is also the thing that makes you feel like you're not good enough to even try to achieve your dreams.
Yeah.
So it's separating the ego from actual awareness.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do in a society that is so built on ego and achievement and external validation, and it doesn't make sense to people when you don't want to keep going with the status quo anymore.
Yeah, that's me. My ego sucks. My ego is
They all do.
I try to like not have a big one. Like I don't think I have a big ego. It's just like the ego itself is so loud to me. Like I'm like, my ego's so mean.
I know. They're really mean. Yeah.
God, it's just I feel like it's like, and you constantly have to keep up with so much on social media. I can't remember, what year did you really start doing your raw posts and like?
I started doing that in college, actually. I was someone who edited all my photos.
Yep.
Everything hit Facetune before it hit the gram.
Yeah.
Add the abs, make the butt, the waist. Like I really struggled with body image.
Yeah.
And so it was just after a while of really portraying a version of myself who was so picture perfect and not real. And then also struggling with, depression and anxiety. I had this, long story short, kind of come to Jesus moment of like, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of acting like something that I'm not and seeking so much validation from the world and likes and comments. So what if I'm just really real? And I just started posting what I called a real post, and I did like no filter, no Facetune anymore, and it would be a tree that I thought was really beautiful, a quote in a coffee shop, a muffin I was eating, like the dumbest stuff. My friends are like, is this for your Finsta? Did you mean to post this? Yeah. I'm like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the start. And then everything really evolved from there. Like the whole reason I'm even in this career is because I decided to tell my story and be radically honest. So it's crazy how you never know what can happen in your life when you actually listen to your heart. Not to sound so cheesy.
No, I love cheese, but I totally agree with you. And we fight it so bad. We fight that, like, we fight aligning with ourselves and what actually like would fill our soul or what would make us happy or what is our truth. We fight it so bad. And I don't know if it's because we just don't want to like go that deep, but as soon as you do that, that's when everything else starts falling into place.
Completely.
Isn't that so interesting? Yeah. Like you built a whole like career now and community out of it.
I know. I have no idea what I would be up to. I feel like I would have found my way to some sort of thing similar. It is wild looking back at how, things lined up in the same way you said in the beginning of this, looking back at your life and seeing like how hard you've worked. I don't think any of us, of course you can look back and wish you maybe did something differently, but that knowledge you take with you in the future the next time something similar happens. I think this fantasy of I'll never have trauma in my life, I'll never go through hard things in my life, like you will be a boring vanilla person.
Yeah.
Like you won't have the dimension to even feel the joy, the insane high joy if you haven't felt the deep sorrow.
Yes.
So I look back and, I would do everything the same because I love being here.
And now what is your relationship like with social media now because I've done so much work around, therapy and body image and all the things. I've worked so hard at it, but I still find myself doing these things and having this unhealthy relationship. It's much different for me now than it was 10 years ago. But what is your relationship with social media right now?
It's really good because I love being creative and I love posting and I really enjoy what I get to do every day. I think if we talk about it in like a body image lens, if you would have asked me this like a few months ago, I would have still said, everything's great. You know, don't follow the accounts that make you feel bad. Follow the ones that make you feel good, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
But with the recent rise of Ozempic
Yeah.
and the heroin chic, like I would be lying if I said that didn't get to me, because when I was 16, all I wanted was a magic thing that would make me lose 30 pounds. That's all I Googled. So the fact that that now kind of exists and everyone's taking it, that's an exaggeration, but my therapist would say I exaggerate everything.
Yeah, I do too.
So like a lot of people, at least in our industry, are.
Yeah.
And everyone's like celebrating it.
Yeah.
Like no one would celebrate people not eating all day.
Right.
But because you take something that then makes you not want to eat all day, it's like, okay, and we're going to like rah, rah, rah. Like that's fine. So I think it's been hard for me to kind of see something out in the world that we never thought possible, getting everyone these insanely thin bodies. And there is a small part of my eating disorder self that's like, you know,
showing up.
Look at that, you know, and I wouldn't. And I've even when I've struggled with thoughts about food and what I'm eating and maybe wanting to restrict or feeling insecure in my body, I'm proud that I've been able to remain strong enough not to tie action to the thoughts.
Yeah.
But still having the thoughts can really pollute your mind and make you feel really negative. And I was really struggling with it like around Christmas.
Why do you think we are celebrating that? Because it feels like we were going in the right direction for a little hot minute there of like celebrating diverse bodies. And now it feels like we're celebrating people who are taking Ozempic and like calling them Ozempic queens. And
are people calling Ozempic? I'm so glad I haven't seen that. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But I just think it is the deeply rooted belief that women need to be as small as possible. And I was on a plane the other day and I thought, oh, let me just watch Devil Wears Prada. What a classic.
Yeah.
Even watching it in 2023 and seeing like all the references of like Anne Hathaway is literally they call her quote fat, like and she is always been one of the thinnest actresses. Like how did we watch that and like not think, what are they trying to pull this off here? Like it's a joke watching it now. You're like, that's not even. And there were so many other things in that movie, and I love that movie. I'm not saying let's boycott it, but you do see it through a different lens of where we are now. But because it's so ingrained in us, and that's especially how we grew up, like it's maybe different, I hope, for some of the younger girls now. I don't know. They have a lot of the body positivity, and when I walk by a Victoria's Secret billboard, sometimes I'm like, wow, I'm glad these young girls, that's what they're seeing, because what I saw was completely different. Yeah. But they're also having all the filters and the Facetune and the apps. Right. So I don't know what was worse, then or now.
I think about that often. That exact same thought, the Victoria's Secret thought of, wow, I wish I saw that growing up. But then we didn't have all these filters and changing, you can change anything.
Yeah.
Anything now. And it's just like you have a podcast, you have all these different platforms. What advice do you give? Because I'm sure a lot of people have the same feelings and insecurities and thoughts that we all have, or that we share. What advice do you give them for when they are feeling this way?
The biggest thing that I've been trying to do myself and then share, because I also never, and I know people will look to you for advice too, and maybe you feel the same way. I'm never going to be someone that's like, rah, 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 here's how to have the best life. Yeah. That's not me. Like, I'm still figuring it out. What I can do is have my experience and share my mindset. And if you can pull from that, amazing. And so what I've been trying to explain is that what I know that I want at my core is peace. Yeah. I want peace with food. I want peace with my body. I want peace in my life. I don't want to be thinking about what I'm eating later and not being present in this conversation. I want to be happy with my husband, Max, and not thinking, what is he thinking about my body? I want peace. And I don't get peace on a diet. I don't get peace weighing myself every week and writing it down on a calendar. I don't. And I've tried it all. And so the way that I don't put the action to maybe when the negative thoughts come in is, I want peace, and these things aren't going to get me peace. And what's going to get me peace is staying on the route of self-compassion and listening to my body and knowing that I'm so much more than my size. So I come back to peace.
That's really nice, because I've talked about this a lot recently on the podcast about thinking about how I want to feel in my life and building a life around that. And that's such a good point, because an exercise that I did that was so helpful was every feeling that I wrote down that I want to feel, I wrote what I could do to make myself feel that way. And of course, none of it was go scroll Instagram, like go follow this or do that. Like none of that obviously is
all of our habits.
All of the habits.
Wait, so everything I do every day, just Me, great.
Right, exactly. I'm like, oh my gosh, I literally look back on what I wrote on how to find like, and that was something that I did want to feel is peace, inner peace, happiness. I want to feel like I'm accomplished, like in all these things that it isn't in how many likes I get on social media. That's not me feeling accomplished. That's not me feeling successful. It's just like showing yourself what the definition of those words actually mean to you and what actions that you can take to find those feelings. I think is obviously what you're saying as well.
And we have to constantly have the awareness to choose it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, for me, yes, peace when it comes to my relationship with myself, but also if I want peace in my life, I've recognized like a big pattern for me in 2020, my whole life, that I recognized in 23 that I'm changing for this year is like, stop inserting yourself in the drama. Stop trying to fix other people's lives. Stop trying to literally just like insert yourself into a place where, one, you're not being asked to help, and two, like it's not your job. And like how much like more free would my life be if I stopped doing that? And even though I love everyone and it's all coming from a place of help, my cup then ends up empty.
Okay, maybe you didn't get exactly what you wanted this Valentine's Day. Well, you're in luck because starting this Thursday through Monday, February 26th, it's Dime Beauty's Valentine's sale. God, I love a pun. With 25% off, now is the time to either give yourself the gift you wanted or stock up on all of your favorites. I do love knowing the ingredients I'm putting on my skin, and I love how Dime not only uses the cleanest ingredients for their products, but they're also 100% transparent about every single ingredient they use too, so I can use their products daily with just zero worries. Dime has over 2 million happy customers, and their product reviews are literally all 5 stars, so for good reason, it works. Love your skin again? Go to dimebeautyco.com this Thursday until Monday, February 26th for 25% off. Stock up on staples or try something new. Now is the perfect time. This kind of discount is huge and will expire, so go to dimebeautyco.com for 25% off during the Valentine sale. That's dimebeautyco.com. Okay, discover top-notch gaming at DraftKings Casino, featuring classics like blackjack, roulette, and slots, plus exclusive games that you won't find anywhere else. So you all know my personal favorite. There's nothing quite like the rush of blackjack. The strategy, the anticipation of each draw, the luck. I'll also dabble in the slots every once in a while, you know, just for funsies. Download the DraftKings Casino app now and use code VINE. New players get an instant deposit match up to $100 in casino credits when you deposit $5 or more. So that's code VINE, only on DraftKings Casino. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly, 21 plus, physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only, void in Ontario. Eligibility and other restrictions apply. One per new customer, must opt in and make minimum $5 deposits within 7 days, that's 168 hours, of registering new account. Max, match $100 in casino credits, which requires a one-time playthrough within 7 days, that's 168 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/new player offer 2024.
When you hear people having a conversation, say you're at dinner with a group of people and you hear somebody having a conversation about like, oh, this person's body, or like if people like, oh, I don't want to eat that, I'm trying to watch what. Do you step in and say something or do you keep it in?
I do not say anything if I don't think someone's like being bullied.
Yeah.
So I've heard that. I was just in a store recently where a mom was her daughter's trying on clothes, and the mom's like, "You're definitely not a 6 anymore. We should get the 8." Just little things like that where it's not my place. The daughter didn't seem like that was out of the ordinary, which is its own problem.
Right.
But like, if I saw someone being made fun of for any reason or being bullied, yeah, I would step in. But if it's just someone's friend group, like, you have to let everyone get to where they're gonna get at their own time. Because I could say the most inspirational thing I've ever heard that changed my life. It will not change their life if it's not the time and place.
Yeah.
And that's something else I've learned. Like, you have to get there when you get there.
Yeah, which is so hard because you know the difference it can make in somebody's life to like take the action. So you're like, ah!
Trust me. Like, I wish anyone who struggles with food in their body, like, all I want to do is talk to them about it.
Yeah.
But I know that I am not the person that's going to cure that for everyone. Like, you know, everyone has their own journey, and I'm always here for my friends when they need me.
I've obviously follow you on all of your things, but and I don't know the answer to this. Have you talked about it on your platform about Ozempic and like what's going on with it?
I did one podcast on it. I want to do a solo episode soon where I kind of dive more into the like, you know, struggles I've had mentally, like seeing it all.
Yeah.
So like not a ton. It's polarizing. And I did post something once. I posted something on my stories and it was like a new influx of people defending it. Ozempic helped me and changed my life. My mom is on Ozempic and she lost all this weight, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's people are now on the other wave. And that was actually really weird for me to see, was like, oh my God, people are defending this thing. And also I try to be, especially, and I know you and I can sympathize with this, I don't like to judge or put anyone I don't know personally in any sort of box, like even celebrities, influencers. So I'm not going to be like, anyone on Ozempic is a bad person and you shouldn't be on it.
Of course.
There's people who it is probably changing their life and it's helping them.
Yes.
But then I think directly about the impact it has on me, knowing like my past issues.
Yeah. That's something I think about too, because, you know, not everybody has struggled with body image or eating disorders. Like, I always have to think about that too, because I just assume everybody's had the same struggles that I've had with their relationship with their bodies. And it's just so interesting to even to talk to like somebody who maybe did have the same, like they still have a different story than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we all have a different story. And of course, I don't want to shit on people who are taking it for actual like diabetic reasons.
Totally.
So,
well, and there's so much misinformation.
Yeah.
You still see people saying that people who are diabetic and need the drug aren't getting it.
Right.
But then you see people saying that's not true. They created a different strain that you can buy. Like, why should someone be shamed to buy something that they can afford and that they like?
Right.
So it's so complex that I'm like refraining from making like public commentary on other people and more so just saying like my own, like, hey, I'm here for the people who are in a similar spot where you used to want a drug like this and now you're like recovered and healed. And it is hard that you know people who are taking it and your friends are taking it or your favorite celebrity or influencers taking it. Like, that's hard.
It's also hard because I am like, I go down this one road about like body image, but then I get Botox, I get filler, and I have body dysmorphia in my face. Like, and so I'm like, why am I so worried about here down? Like, then I'm like not judging things from here up. Like, I don't know where the line is of what's like what I should be concerned about.
I love how open you are, and I think to me that's everything. Like when Oprah said she was taking Ozempic, I literally posted it and was like, at least she's honest.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oprah.
Yeah.
Because she could have said this was a Weight Watchers thing and gotten all these people to go get Weight Watchers, whatever. She didn't.
Yeah.
I will always respect honesty. Even Tana Mojo is always like, I Facetune the shit out of my pictures. Thank you for being honest.
Yeah, that's
all
true.
I ask.
You're right. And I do struggle. I obviously struggle with aging, appearance. It's something that I've struggled with my whole life. So when people are like, stop touching your face, I'm like, I know. I realize I have an issue and that I have this image that I need to look younger, and Botox does that to me. And I've had actually Elizabeth, who does my Botox and filler, be like, I'm not doing that to you. You don't need it. Like, this is in your head. Like, she actually is so real with me about it too.
And I don't even want you to feel like you necessarily, like, you're like, I have this issue. But recognize like how society has told you your whole life as women get aged, they're like worthless and not as hot.
Yes.
Like, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, they just keep getting hotter.
Yes.
Then it's like the women, they don't. So I think we have to come to this with more like sympathy and compassion for women. Like, if someone told me they got plastic surgery over their whole body, like I wouldn't say, oh, shame on you. How could you do that to women?
You would say, you poor thing, like, you've been conditioned to believe that that's what you needed to do to feel successful.
I'm like, my life could have 50-50 gone that same way and I could have gotten a BBL. Like,
right.
So, you know, I just think the honesty is important, because what crushes me is the young girls being like, oh, this person just only eats kale and does 50 squats a day. And then they're just like, you know, killing themselves trying to do that workout.
Yeah. I've talked about this on the pod before, where I'm like, I remember seeing what Julianne Hough eats in a day and thinking, oh God, and look at her body. No, she works her freaking ass off. She probably was saying she had something for a snack one time and people took that, said that's what she eats in her day. And I remember thinking, okay, she only eats 4 almonds and an orange for lunch or for a snack. So I shouldn't have more than 4 almonds. Like, I remember that thought process going through my head.
Totally. Oh my God. I knew all the measurements of the VS models. That could be my dirty confession.
Oh my. That's your confession. But I mean, like, we obsess over those things. That's called obsessing. And I do it too.
And you know what's so empowering though for anyone who's struggling and like does feel like, oh, my body or my weight is like my whole world, is thinking about taking that really feminist approach of like the amount of time like women, like, I don't love the word waste because to each their own, whatever makes someone happy. But like men do not spend as much time working on their appearance as women do.
Yeah.
They spend that time in their business, in their work, in their whatever, like patriarchy stuff.
Yeah.
And we spend it in the mirror.
Yeah.
We look in the mirror and like, so I think what can be helpful is like taking that, like I said, feminist approach of like, okay, what more is there that I can be giving to the world, doing for the world, offering to the world that's beyond my appearance?
Yeah,
and that helps me too.
I always think about like my boundaries around social media, and like you said, like there's a certain level of action you can take to not follow the accounts that are triggering for you and follow the ones that are, but I mean, we still have these boundaries that we don't set for ourselves that I find like, I could say that, but then I'll find myself on the search page for you, and then all of a sudden I'm down the rabbit hole of, I don't know, Megan Fox.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, look at her lips here. I should do that to my lips. It finds you. I'm like trying to have boundaries and follow the right people, and then it somehow finds me. But
because it's listening to us right now.
I know. And I'll go down the rabbit hole later probably with Megan Fox because my phone heard me. But I just think it's frustrating because we're supposed to be the ones that set these boundaries for ourselves. And we can't control other people's behavior, obviously, but have you learned to accept like things that you cannot change, and have you set boundaries with yourself with social media?
Acceptance was a big thing I had to really understand and learn like recently, because I am the queen of nope. There's a way I can fix it. Like, give me the math equation and I will, not math, but like tell me A, B equals C and I will do those things. So acceptance has been a big part of me trying to seek peace in all aspects of my life.
Yeah.
And like a visual that really helped me, and I actually read it in that book, was the present moment is what it is. Mm-hmm. It's happened. Let's say that I spill this wine like all over your dress. Yeah. It's spilt. Yeah. So we can either, get frustrated and, oh my God, am I day in this dress? Or we can live in alignment with the present moment and not choose to add more suffering to our life. And that's such a small example. But if you like think about something deep or upsetting that happens, like, your person in your life was supposed to show up for you for a date or your friend and they didn't, you can either accept, they let me down and this is a real bummer. And next time I'll know not to have these expectations, or they're not the friend I will invite to this next time. Yeah. You make your logical change and like, that hurts, and have the pain in the moment. But we don't have to add the narrative of, I cannot believe they did this. I'm calling Sarah right now. Can you believe this? You spend 3 hours on FaceTime talking about it. Then the next day you're like, I'm seeing her today. What should I say? What should my attitude be? It's like you're letting it pollute your whole life because you really didn't accept that this happened. Yeah. And it's sad to accept that someone's not your friend the way that you wanted them to be.
Yeah. That's what I've learned. Okay, that's a big point I learned in therapy, is that I know people are going to respond to me in a negative way sometimes. I know somebody's going to show up and say something mean about my face. I know all these things, and I'll continue to I'll get angry about it. And I'll be like, how could they do this? And then I like want to call my friend and talk to them about it. And my therapist told me one time, she goes, you always want to protest, and she goes, but really you're just saying like, this isn't okay with me in this. I'm sad. I'm hurting. What I thought would be this isn't this, and I'm just actually sad. She goes, you got to find a way to create space for yourself to just be sad and know that like that doesn't feel good to you, instead of the protest. Sit with your sadness and be like, actually this just isn't okay with me, and I'm going to allow myself to feel sad about it.
I love that. We are always trying to get rid of sad. We're like, I'm sad. How can I feel happy? What if you're just living the sad?
Yes.
For a little. Because then it will say, oh, okay, I spent my time and I'll leave you now.
Yeah.
But whatever you suppress, expresses. There's some sort of, someone has a rhyme there.
I know. I'm like, my therapist has all of them.
Yeah.
Yes. There's what you don't heal will be revealed. Yeah. Like it'll just keep coming up for you until you heal it. And if something like is going to be a problem for you, if you don't heal it and work on it, it's just going to get louder and louder and show up more in your life until you are forced to. So like, do you want to do it now, or do you want to get to a really dark place before you start to do it?
Okay, I've got something deliciously exciting to share with all of you, and it's called Factor Meals. Okay, picture this. Okay, mouth-watering, chef-crafted dishes delivered right to your door, ready to heat. Enjoy whenever, wherever you need them. Sounds amazing, right? With over 35 options each week, including keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie options, there's truly something for everyone, and in just 2 minutes. Just a 2-minute meal. So say goodbye to meal prep, stress, and hello to convenience and flavor. And when you sign up, you save. They've actually done the math. So Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. Plus, they do more than just meals, okay? I love the easy snack and smoothie options they have too. So good. Are you ready to elevate your dining game? Head to factormeals.com/vine50 and use code VINE50 to get 50% off. That's code VINE50 at factormeals.com/vine50 to get 50% off. Okay, who does not like a little luxury every now and then? But it usually comes with a cost. Well, that was until I discovered Quince. Now, Quince is my place to go for luxury essentials at affordable prices. My favorite black cashmere sweater is from Quince, and it was only $50. It's so comfortable. I'm obsessed. They also have washable silk tops and dresses, organic cotton sweaters, and 14-karat gold jewelry. And here's the real kicker, okay? All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands by partnering directly with top factories. So Quince goes ahead, cuts out that cost of the middleman, passes the savings on to us so we can get a bang for our buck, you know? Love it. And Quince only works with factories that use safe and ethical and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. So who doesn't love that? Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/vine for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/vine to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/vine. Ciao. There are a few happy places in this world that I consider to be my happy place. I'm in one right now, Hawaii, aloha. And another one is Italy. The food, the people, the wine, magic. But what makes my trip so much better is when I know some of the language to be able to navigate and communicate with the people around me. I also feel so cool when I can do it. So Rosetta Stone is the most trusted language learning program for over 30 years with millions of users and over 25 languages offered. I used it when I lived in Germany. It's so user-friendly too. It is available on desktop or as an app, which makes it also super convenient for every type of person and truly immerses you in the language you want to learn for long-term retention. So don't put off learning that language. No better time than right now to get started, because for a very limited time, Off the Vine listeners, you're going to get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. 50%. Visit rosettastone.com/vine. That's 50% off unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Okay, redeem your 50% off at rosettastone.com/vine today.
You've been with your husband now for 8 years, and people change over, that amount of time. It's so, I had it started with like accepting others for who they are. I feel like you and your husband have such a good relationship and accept each other for who you are. And I just feel like people change so much I've changed so much over 5 years. How do you guys keep the connection and that healthy relationship over 8 years? Because have you heard of the 7-year itch that people get?
Tell me more.
Apparently, relationships go through really hard times at year 7.
Okay, good to know. Well, we didn't know about that. We made it through. I will say, there are the realities. I used to think when I would walk into a friend's house and they're in a relationship and they're not cuddled up on the couch together, I'm like, that's so weird. We would never. We're always cuddling. And now, of course, there are nights where I'm I'm laying on one side, he's laying on the other. So I think it's funny, the more you grow older in a relationship, you start to see the things you thought would never be you.
Right.
But, of course we've grown and we've changed as people, but I think the number one thing that I would say to, anyone listening is that we also have our own lives and passions outside of each other. And I think and I'm codependent. I joke that I'm Max's puppy. I'm like, when are you coming home? When are you going to play with me? And then when he can't hang out, I'm like, my mom's picking me up for a walk. Yeah. I'm a dog.
Yeah.
And I definitely am I love him and I would spend every day with him. But that's not realistic. And we're not going to be happy if I'm just waiting for him to come home.
Yeah.
And, so I have my own career, and we joke that literally we'll be I'm going out of town for a week for work. And we don't check in to give each other, we want each other to go achieve our dreams. So I would just say, I think one of the biggest things is, even when we were 3 years in and he was a major football player and the NFL didn't work out for him and he had no resume, no plan, and he said, I really want to go to New York and work for Gary Vee. And we lived in LA, and that would mean long distance. You're gonna go to New York, but I want you to do that, because if you don't, you will never do it. And then, like you said, the resentment will grow. Later in life, I'll have a crisis and be like, I never went and figured out what I really wanted to do with my life. So I said, yeah, go, and I'll visit you, and we'll make this work, and we'll do long distance. So, I think, you really have to celebrate their life and successes and know that you're a big part of that, but you can't be the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, of course, I would say and he would say we're each other's world, but like, if you look at our calendars, no, we're not sitting there staring each other's eyes for 24 hours a day.
Right. I love how much incredible work you do. I mean, you have so much going on, podcasts, your own nonprofit. What do you do for yourself to find intentional time to manage it all? Like, because I burn out very easily, yet I do it every month. I go, I'm going to take time for myself. And then after 5 days of taking time for myself, I'm like, I would like to burn myself out because that makes me feel successful.
Yeah. I literally was on the phone with my mom about this for 40 minutes today.
Yeah.
And I was in my therapy session today
Yeah.
talking about this because I just feel like the cycle of grind, burnout, rest, grind, burnout, rest, I'm just kind of over it. And I'm realizing I need to just create a more balanced, sustainable life. And I think what's really come with that is getting super clear about where I want to spend my time, what are my priorities in work, and then saying no to everything else.
Yeah.
And I've said no to some things this week that if you told me like a year or two ago, I wouldn't believe I'd said no. Like yoga with this A-list celebrity.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds cool. I got to drive an hour each way. Am I actually going to meet them? What if they only show up for 10 minutes? They won't send me the list of who else is going. Like, is that what I want to do on Wednesday night?
Right.
Or do I want to sign off work at 4 p.m., lay on the couch, read my book, do my thing? I just like, have gotten very specific about like, what I'm doing. And of course there are things that like light me up on fire. And if someone wants to talk to me on the phone and they go to USC and they want to be in this career, I will hop on that phone call all the time and like do it for free because I love it, of course.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like I've been getting really clear about my boundaries.
It's so important, and it seems like such a very easy thing, but to actually say no to these opportunities is so challenging.
Oh, it's
especially
so hard.
In this world, because you're like, well, what if?
Who could be there? Who could I meet?
Who could I meet? And then what opportunity would that bring? And what relationship could I build here? And it's all like network. But really, like, you got to choose what actually is making the peace thing.
Yeah.
Bring it back to the peace thing. What is going to bring me peace? And is that going to stress me out? And is it worth it?
Yeah. And I did so much. I almost like, yes, it's networking. Sometimes I don't love that word because it sounds sleazy. It sounds like you're schmoozing people and you don't mean it.
I know.
I've done so much relationship building.
Yeah.
And I still have professors and people I'm close with years later who've opened doors for me or who I've opened doors for. And it's amazing. But like at some point, I could have the same chance of running into someone at CVS and us hitting it off and they work in such and whatever as I maybe could going to this event. Like, I don't know. It's just, there's always going to be things, especially living in LA. My one best friend lives in San Francisco and like isn't around all the events. So just like doesn't have the nose to say. So that's been hard. I also think like I've tried to be a bit smarter. Like I said, I'll take phone calls, of course, but instead of just being like, yeah, I'll hop on the call, because I don't know about you, but I've hopped on calls where the person's like, I just like really wanted to meet you. Yeah. Like, so, and I'm like, okay, how can I help you?
Right.
Like, what are your questions?
Yeah,
they don't even have questions.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And so now I'm at a point where I'm like, I would love to. Email me your questions so I can prepare, best prepare to help you.
Yeah.
75% of people won't even take the 5 minutes to prepare questions.
Really?
Because it's like an extra little bit of work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, it's definitely front of mind for me, figuring it all out.
Oh, I think that's really important. I think people have to get to a point where they have done the burnout to know, okay, my next step, like I can't keep doing this. Like I'm going to bury myself in stress if I keep burning myself. Like that's me talking to myself right now. Tomorrow I'm like, and then I have 5 podcasts.
Yeah. No, I don't know how you do it. I can't do more than 3 in a day, and then I'm done for the week.
Okay, I'm going to play a little game with you called Getting Real. What is the one thing in your life that you are the most proud of?
Work or personal life?
Both.
Okay. I'd say the hidden opponent, my
Yes.
nonprofit, and then I would say my husband.
Aww.
He's the best.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so cute. Oh my God.
I'm so proud to be his wife.
Oh.
He's the best. I know that sounds, that gives very like, I'm so proud to be a wife. No, it's not like,
No, I didn't
forget
take it like
gender.
that.
Like he's such a good person.
Wow. That's awesome. What is one thing that always makes you happy consistently? You could say your husband and.
Phone calls with my best friends.
Oh, that's nice. What's the best compliment that you've ever received?
I cannot think of the best compliment I've ever received, but I can think of a recent compliment related to what we're saying.
Okay.
Was I had Hannah Berner, amazing comedian,
I'm
on my podcast.
obsessed with Hannah.
Love Hannah. She's the bomb.
She's the best.
And last time I was with her, she was like, I love your content because like I never know what to expect. And that like really stuck with me because I'm sometimes like, I don't have enough of a niche. I'm not as predictable.
Right.
They don't know what to expect. I was viewing it as such a negative. And
When
she was
that's
like,
a positive.
I love following you because I never know what you're going to post. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. So
that's true.
I've liked that.
You know what content I like is how much of a nerd you are over Taylor Swift because same. Because same. Has she ever like responded to you or like?
I met her once in the rep room at her Reputation tour.
Oh, shit.
Yes. So that, I know.
That's
that was
cool.
before I like had as many people following my pages now. So people don't know that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I met her when I was just off The Bachelorette. I met her and she was like, I can't believe they did 2 Bachelorettes. And I was like, you watch? And she was like, yeah, we did a photo together. And I was like,
That's iconic. She's such a queen.
oh, she is such a queen. Okay, what book, show, or movie had the biggest impact on you?
I would say the book A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And I
can't wait
have
to read
my
this.
spin-off pod, So Much to Say, if you guys want to listen to me cry every week reading the chapters with my best friend. It's kind of funny.
I love that.
And then I feel like I'm not that impacted. I
love
am
that.
impacted, but I can't think of a cinematic
changed your life.
experience
Yeah.
that changed my life. Yeah. Unless it was
I
like
get
a
that.
sports documentary, probably.
What about Barbie?
Barbie was really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I don't even know what to say because it was during the strike, so I couldn't say anything.
Oh, yeah.
So I almost didn't form an opinion.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't talk about it on the internet.
That's fair.
It was amazing though. If you don't cry when the Billie Eilish song starts playing and they're in the
Oh.
white room, do you have a soul?
I cried 3 times in the movie.
Yeah, it was
Beginning,
so
middle,
good.
and end. What is something that's important to you on your bucket list?
I think maybe I will like never do it, but skydiving.
Really?
I want to.
Mine's an African safari.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Insane.
I want to be like in the middle of the wild with like elephants.
Oh my God, that's iconic.
Giraffes.
You should do that. Plan it.
I'm
You
going
can
to.
get a
I'm going
brand
to
deal
take
out
my
there.
sister. I'm going to take my sister because it's her bucket list and it's also part of mine.
Oh my God, that's so special.
Yeah. How do you personally define success?
I have never had to define success for myself. I can definitely think about like how I don't want to say it's an A on your paper, your
Right.
test, right? Like
Yeah.
something like that. I think I would say this is my problem with these games. I feel like it's like going to be permanently engraved on my tombstone, whatever I say in this quick round. I would just say success is anytime you can acknowledge a moment in your life that you like made yourself proud. I would just say any moment in your life where you are proud of yourself because you've made a little improvement.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I think about that often, actually. Like about how I react in situations. If it's like even a tiny bit of growth, I'm like, look at me.
Yeah.
And I celebrate that. That's one
Totally.
thing I do, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
It can be a simple thing that you reacted to
Yeah.
differently and no one else knows about it.
Yeah.
Or it can be this mega accomplishment. Like, I think it needs to
Right.
be everything.
That's so true. Speaking of your tombstone, what do you want people to remember you by?
Oh my gosh. I think I want people to remember me as someone who had like a deep passion to help, motivate, be the best bud, inspire others to live any life that it is they want to live.
Do you think it's crazy that if you think about that, you are doing that?
It's like so hard for me to think about because I literally, this is another thing. I view myself the same way I did when I like first got on Instagram. So the other day in
A
Home
humble
Goods,
queen.
someone's like, I was afraid to say hi to you. I'm like, I literally go, why I'm a loser. I'm like, why did I say that out loud? I also need to stop shitting on myself.
Yes, stop.
But I love that quote. It's like, be careful. If you talk to me for too long, I'll convince you can achieve your dreams. And I feel like that's me.
Yeah. I like that though. And you're making such an impact and
Thank
doing
you.
so many important things. And then last but not least, confession time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got for me?
So I actually have something interestingly juicy. It's not
Ooh.
like I really tried to think about because this is like, let's be real, something someone's never said before. Like it's
Right.
not going to be that good.
Okay.
Although this could be.
Okay.
Okay. It's so random.
I'm excited.
Okay. I've never really said this in the public because I'm kind of afraid, like, if people know that they could, like, I don't know, like, it's still that I have this fear. But I thought, why not bury it at the end
Bury
of
it.
Kaitlyn Bristowe's
Yeah.
podcast?
Let's bury it right here, right now. We're going to
Okay.
bury it.
When I was little,
Yeah.
I had arachnophobia.
Okay.
That's a fear of spiders.
Yeah.
And not just like a cutesy girl who's like, I don't like
Yeah.
spiders. No, like
Crippling.
hyperventilating, like if you showed me a photo, if you talked about it, like panic. If I slept anywhere in like the wildernessy area, like I
Yeah.
had to have a full on sweater with the gloves tucked into the sleeve, like skin couldn't be exposed, ears couldn't be exposed. I was like so afraid.
Yeah.
And actually, like my parents like never really believed me. They're like, oh yeah, you like little girl, like scared of spiders.
Yeah.
And then one time I was on a trip with some classmates with my mom, and the guys at school knew, and they would tease me, like especially on Halloween was the worst time for me. My friend had
they dropped the spider.
oh my god,
in front of
even
you?
even
Oh
the
my
like
God.
the plastic ones I couldn't.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this guy who I'm still friends with, we went to prom together. I love him.
Aw.
He's one of my best guy friends. But he came up next to me and like had a picture of a tarantula, which that is just. There was a time I couldn't even say the T word.
Really?
Yes. And so
I don't mean to laugh like that
no,
in your
it's
face.
no,
but
it's okay because I'm over it. We're
I
gonna
like
get there.
evil laughed in your face. Kate.
No, it's okay. You're like you
I was
weirdo.
like, tarantula.
No, That's hilarious. So he quickly flashed me the photo. I saw it. I freaked out. And my mom was there. And I started hyperventilating. I ran upstairs to the room. And I was like crying in a ball. I was like, I can't even close my eyes because if I close my eyes, I'll see it. Like,
oh my
I was freaking out.
God.
And she was like, oh my God, you're weird.
She's like, this is a real thing.
So my mom signed me up. It was the first time I ever went to therapy. Looking back, I didn't even know. It was a child psychologist who specialized in phobias. And she saw people who had fear of escalators, couldn't get near malls, fears of blood, like all kids with like weird fears.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I worked with her for like, I don't even know how long. And we started talking about it. Then we began to say the word. Then we read Charlotte's Web. Then she gave me the little plastic ones just to look at. Then she gave me them to take home. And then I had to lay in the grass. And then our final therapy session, we went to Petco and looked at tarantulas.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
And you were fine.
And now I would say I'm normal. Would I ever want like one on me? No. If you said you had a pet tarantula, I would never want to look or go in the room. But there's a spider on our couch. Max can kill it. If I take my glasses off and it's kind of blurry, I can kill it, and then I can lay on the couch. Whereas before, the couch would be burned and I would move out.
I should have done that with birds. If a bird was in this room right now, I would have a panic attack.
Really?
Yes, I would have a panic attack.
Really?
Yeah.
Me laughing back at you.
I know.
I'm like,
but it's silly. Yeah, but I'm like, but I can hear like, if a bird was in the other room, I'd be like, oh God, I hope it doesn't come in here. But I wouldn't.
But how do you live outside?
Like, if you walk with me in like New York City and there's like the pigeons, I get really uncomfortable and afraid.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, if you need Dr. Pam's number, let me know.
Yeah, could you give me Dr. Pam?
You rotate in with the kindergartners.
I'm like, I can like say the word bird. I have birds tattooed on my arm. Like, I don't know if I need a therapist, but like,
yeah,
I hate birds.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyways.
Well, it's scary, and I validate that.
Thank you. And I'm like so proud of you for getting through your fears.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I know that wasn't like the juicy
no,
tea, but it was interestingly random, right?
Yeah. I actually like that fun fact. It was more of a fun fact,
yeah,
but it's still good.
Me viewing it as this really big
yeah,
confession.
I'm like, LOL, fun fact.
I'm like, I will tell her the arachnophobia story.
Oh, that is sad because you are probably embarrassed of how bad it was, but
yeah, I'm just like, yeah, it's, you know.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other people out there who probably have the same story as you, and you guys can form a community. That's like me with misophonia. We started an account on Instagram for misophonia.
My mom, is that the noises?
Yeah.
My mom can't listen to chewing. She can't listen to breathe. She's like, tells my dad, she's like, stop breathing.
It's a thing.
No. You know what they say about that?
What?
Are you like really, do you pick up a lot on people's emotions and like bright lights?
Yes.
And,
yes.
So you have to view it as like a superpower. It's like an additional like elevated sense for like
superpower that makes me really mad.
But think about it, like you're really perceptive to noise, sounds, lights, and like feelings. Like you can channel it for good. Like when someone walks into a room, like sensing their energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And I am I'm a very highly
Empath.
sensitive person. And like you're right, even bright lights, like a lot of noises, even if it's not like someone chewing, just like a lot of noises, I get very overwhelmed. But I definitely take on people's energy.
Yeah.
Superpower. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can all find me on Instagram and TikTok at Victoria Browne. And you can also find Kaitlyn on my podcast, Real Pod, because she's coming on it right now. Thank you for having me. I loved being on.
And I will love being on yours.
Yay.
I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now ending. And if I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind a rating and review.